I was wrong in doing what I did. No! Are you listening?
Sean here, and one thing the Casey calls have really helped me understand is Lorne is a success. With his own set parameters and his own rules and his own measurements and standards, he's a smashing success. That's the way he's programmed. It's like a computer, an input-output. Lorne is a Tandy calculator, or a Texas Instrument calculator, old school. And that's the way he's programmed, that's the way he's always been, and that's the way will always be, because he can't be upgraded. The thing with human beings is, if we stay in the past for too long, we can't get the new hardware, we can't get the new equipment. It would take too long to catch up, and you either become a new person, or you're fucked. Or should I say, fucked. If Lorne figured out what I wish people in this community would figure out, you know, when the drama stirs up, or accusations, or whatever else it is. The internet, especially the Lorneography community, it's just a bunch of hot air. Lorne has never realized that. In the latest call, he's got it all figured out that Xavier's behind everything. Xavier the hacker has been focusing on him ever since the sting. He's been orchestrating this giant catfish to keep Lorne Lynn Armstrong trapped in that Hobbit trailer of his. I'm certain in his trailer, if it just collapsed, it was a big pile of rubbish with the door. But you could still have a working television and the kitchen and whatever, the living room, whatever touches in there, and Lorne could sleep on the floor. I'm certain he would stay there. And judging from some of those pictures we've seen, it's pretty freaking close to that already. If you were to try to sum up Lorne Armstrong as a piece of computer equipment or technology in general, see, most people see themselves as a sexy new gaming laptop with ray tracing, lots of memory, RAM, video RAM, whatever else, that people are going to pay top dollar to play around with. And I think Lorne believes he's that gaming laptop. Because, as I said before, in his head, his entire life has prepared him for his 50-something failure. All the circuitry in that 56K modem brain of his, everything processing, or not processing, should I say, in proper order. And because that's what he's learned, and that's all he'll ever know, he assumes that because there is output, that it's working. There are two types of people. Because I'm getting work done, I'm working. And the other type is because I'm getting work done and it's working, I must be doing my job correctly. Lorne doesn't understand that just because you go out and work on the yard and move dirt here and there, that doesn't mean you're actually getting work done. All of those years of I'm getting the trailer in order, and then you look at it and you're like, man, you did nothing. Because what he's doing has done nothing. Lorne, at best, would be a timepiece. I don't mean a dime piece, a timepiece. He measures everything in time, as we know. He thinks because there are occurrences, happenings in his life, that he's doing something correct. And this is completely wrong, as we all know. It's false. Somehow, if Lorne was a watch, it would be a wind-up watch. And his time, his watch face would say the same as all the rest of ours. But for some reason, he would still be in the past. He would still be stuck. He'd have to wind up just to catch up with the rest of us. But it would be like 5 days later. I guess that's how I would describe it. Lorne's a wind-up watch. The rest of us, it's 5 o'clock p.m. each day. But I feel like Lorne's watch dies at least 5 times a year. Or Lorne as a watch. I'm making a point. And he doesn't wind it up again for like 2 weeks. So technically it's 5 o'clock, but the rest of us, we've made progress in our life. He's 2 weeks behind us. So if you added that up over 52 years, all of those times he just lagged behind and never progressed, that says a lot about why he is the way he is. I just wish I could tell him, if you'd go away everybody else would go away as well. And you'd have to explain it. If you're in these internet communities and there's drama going on, you've seen it, and Lorne is the center of the drama because he is the reason for this community. He's a complete and total tool bag who will never change, and he is a never-ending source of entertainment. You tell him to go away, just leave. You tell him to go away, just tell him to leave. You don't address it. You don't talk about it. It doesn't matter how many threads are started about you. It doesn't matter what the comments are, if you're being invaded or trolled, or people are gathering, a giant army to come after you. None of this is Lorne's business. It's not how he makes his money. It's not how he makes his living. None of this affects anything in his life. You could stretch it and say that, people are calling his work, whatever. That's fine. You can do that. But the point I'm making is Dark Side Phil, he's been busted time and time again, lying and scamming and cheating, denying. He's one of the most toxic people on the planet, and he has dozens of detractor channels, and he has a lot of people who call him out on his bullcrap. That, e-begging, is how he makes his livelihood. Lorne doesn't depend on any of this, but I still believe in his head he thinks he's going to make it big as long as he can get back on and do his cooking show and his workout show and his singing and his poetry. So maybe that's why he can't let it go, because he thinks somehow it is his livelihood. He's never changed. He never will change. I haven't seen one thing in him that's changed. I've seen his denial get stronger and stronger as the years have gone by. I've seen him get dumber, if that's possible. I didn't know that was possible, but listening to these Casey calls, listen to him try to reason it out with it was the third night and the fourth night, but you remember the first time, and Alex. He still doesn't understand that because he has an interest in you, you don't have to shut down your entire life. The whole Paula saga, he admitted what I thought all along was that it was his first and only attempt at a real relationship with a woman. He didn't know how to start it. He damn sure didn't know how to close it. So he just sat there, and he stalked her, and he followed her home, and somebody had to intervene. And we're looking at him fail his entire life through his eyes, and he's painting it as it was some kind of success. This is why the parameters in his brain, they're broken. The rules, the boundaries, if Lorne was the Matrix, it'd be glitching out all of the time. You have only pieces of code in his little computer brain that are actually functioning, running subroutines and things like that, and doing daily processes. Anything for complex thinking, and it just glitches out. There's a reason for that. It's called machine gun memory. I struggle with it too. It happens when you're broke, or when you have a lot of money, excess money, extra money that you could possibly spend. It also happens a lot when you're angry or you're depressed. Let's just say extremes, okay? We'll say extremes. With Lorne, desperation is a lot of it. The difference with him is that there is no sense of urgency with him. There's nothing that's screaming at him like, Lorne, get your act together. Pull your shit together, man. You need to move forward. You're that wind-up watch. You're 5 days behind everybody else. Lorne's decision-making process happens in a way where he doesn't start the thought process. It comes to him. A lot of us, we sit down and we think about what we have to do and how we're going to get there. Machine gun memory is where you're trying to get to, that's what keeps popping up in your head. So you're thinking about the destination because you're looking forward to the destination, or you're worried about the destination. Worried so much that you're going to crash on an airplane that you forget to pack everything on your way to the airport. You get there late, you go to the wrong gate because you're focused simply on the crash. Lorne during the day will be thinking about all of these things that he doesn't want to deal with, because subconsciously, even when he tries to block them out, they will pop up in his head, and he will try to address them quickly. Finally, when he's forced to think about it, all of these little decisions and these thoughts and everything, these fragmented thoughts that he now has to piece together when he's actually trying to make a plan, he can't remember any of the little ideas he might have had how to deal with it. When those machine gun little blurb destination or what he's trying to do pop in his head, and he has those quick thoughts, and he doesn't jot them down. Chances are they're stupid anyway, because he's wearing that stupid fucking Bluetooth. But he doesn't jot any of them down. So just picture his brain shot full of holes in that one area where he's going to try to plan out his success. He can't now, because instead of sitting down, think of this. You're going to an improv class, and you're on your way there, and you're putting yourself in all these scenarios, and you and your friends are jamming out, and you have all these great one-liners, and then you get to the show, and you get a similar scenario. You've already said all of the things that were coming right off the top of your head, so now you're trying to recall those cool things and funny things you said, those cute things you said, but they're not going to come out the way that you first said them. The inflection, the tone, the words aren't going to come out correctly. You're going to paraphrase. It's just not going to be as funny. You've already attacked the topic. Just like when Lorne is trying to plan, and in his head, instead of sitting down and focusing on it, whenever it pops in his head, he starts to plan a little bit and then forgets about it. He could just move on. And also when those machine gun memories pop in your head, when those destinations, they pop in your head, you also have the chance to distract yourself, because you haven't officially sat down to look at everything and try to figure out whatever the problem is that you're trying to deal with. You can now just distract yourself. I almost said detract yourself. Well, it's been a week. This is why this moron always has these thoughts about getting married. He always has these thoughts about, moving in, and I'm thinking about building a house, because the problem is his trailer. The problem is how he's going to get his trailer functional, how he's going to be able to stay in the trailer. But then when he's doing something and he looks over and sees a hole in the wall or whatever, it reminds him of it. But instead of thinking about the problem, now he thinks, this would be great, get a house, I'm going to go ahead. The answer is actually building a new house for Casey. This is going to be our summer home. Holy shit. They're not even dating, and he's already talking about summer homes. But this is what happens when Lorne doesn't want to think about something, and the ceiling collapsing reminds him, holy shit, this it's going down. If I don't do something quickly, I'm screwed. What am I going to do? And he comes up with these ideas because they're more fun to think about than how am I actually going to do this? I have no money in the bank. I have nobody to help me. I don't think I'm ever going to get this to livable. It's a miracle they haven't come and put some kind of, eviction notice, or not eviction notice. What do they call that? I am having a moment right now. You'll have to forgive me. I know that it happens a lot with mobile homes where it's marked as uninhabitable, and they don't really have a choice. They can either tear it down, or something happens, the city can do something. This is why it's in the state it's in. Yes, he has no money, and yes, he's been foolish with his money, and yes, he does not have a strong support structure. But because all of his decisions are made, like that old Texas Instrument calculator, only when there is input does he actually do work. And he thinks that doing work is actually accomplishing something. Just doing work, obviously, is just doing work. But for him, thinking about things, just thinking about things, that's enough. Well, I thought about it for today. Didn't really come up with a solution. Well, I came up with a long-term solution. But like I said about getting to the airport, everything, you're so worried about the crash, everything in between, you forget to pack what you need. So Lorne just assumes that we're just going to jump straight to the summer home marriage phase. That way, I don't have to... I have such a horrible redneck voice. That way, Lorne won't have to actually focus and do any work and put any thought, any effort in. If he didn't spend his life thinking about other things and only addressing problems when they popped into his head, when he remembered he had those problems, he would be in a better place. He wouldn't be trying to buy and sell Beanie Babies and coins and $5,000 dinner rings and everything else. He definitely wouldn't be speaking to catfish women, because the solution to his desperation is catfish women. Any woman he can talk to. Not a real woman, because we know he can't get a real woman. But these catfish women, that's all he needs. Another problem Lorne would have if he had a real woman, he would have these discussions in his head when these thoughts popped in that he was addressing throughout the day instead of when he was supposed to. Or if he knew he was going to have a discussion with his wife at night, he'd already have it all figured out. Whatever this stuff would pop in his head, he would just come up with the solution, what he's going to tell his wife. And much like the improv thing, it sounds a lot better in your head. Or when you get home, all that cool stuff you had, all those answers, all the words that you had that sounded really good, they're not going to come out the same. It's very important not to let these machine gun memories, the things that jog your memory, take over. Don't become a person who makes those split-second decisions because something just pops in your head. The next thing you know, you're going off in a 90-degree direction from where you were just because you didn't want to take the time and sit down and actually think about your problems. And this is why Lorne will always have his problems. And this is why he will be that watch that is 5 days behind everybody else. He's that technology. He's stuck in the past. He never upgraded any of his equipment to the point where you can no longer upgrade anything in him because it's so old. It's so ancient. There's nothing new that's compatible with it. And I know this is kind of long-winded and a little bit rambly, but all of this Lorne Logic, his bizarre thought process, the reason he is where he is today, it's all because he can't just sit down and think things out. He never progressed. He never kept up with the times. And eventually, he's going to be living in a tent on that land. Some of you are sure he's going to be dead by 2025. You might be right. I still think he's going to be in prison. But if he's not dead or in prison, I don't think he's going to be living in that trailer. I think it's going to collapse, and he's going to be in some kind of tent. And I think he'll be okay with it. Anyway, that's my video for today. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah,